Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well-being, mindfulness, and the mind-body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome to the Mindful Living podcast, listeners, where we explore the journey to living more intentionally, authentically, and fully. I'm your host, and today's episode will delve into what it truly means to live mindfully rather than having a mindful. Our guest is the extraordinary Birgitta, a soul empowerment coach, divine channel, and light language healer. Birgitta's journey of overcoming personal struggles and discovering her true self has led her to become a beacon of light for others. Her deep wisdom, drawn from ancient teachings and personal experiences, empowers individuals to embrace their authentic selves and transform their lives. So, today we'll explore mindfulness, inner transformation, and the path to becoming who we are truly meant to be. So, let's get ready and dive deep into this conversation. So, Birgitta, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor having you with us today.
Hi, Sana. Thank you so much for having me.
Birgitta, so you have had a truly unique life journey filled with many challenges. So, how did those experiences lead you to the practice of mindful living, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, precisely as you said. So, being mindful is actually being conscious and being aware of everything that you do and everything and everyone around you. Because often when we go through our experiences or traumatic experiences and we experience pain, I always say we run ragged with our emotions, and our emotions are energy in motion. And we get worried, we suffer from anxiety, and that's when our mind is full because we're overloading it and we're constantly thinking and thinking and thinking, rather than really being in the moment and accepting where we are and healing from that point on, so to speak. And it's all about embracing ourselves. So when we're living, rather than having our mind full, it's being mindful and living mindful. So being aware and being conscious of everything that we do. And when we go through our experiences, and I've been through a lot of trauma, just like many, many other people. And just for the listeners in a nutshell, so that they understand. I mean, I've been through abuse. I was abused by my friends and family when I was younger. I used to starve myself. I lost my dad when I was 14, so that was a big blow. I was bullied in high school because I was very skinny and I was very tall. I'm 5'11". I lost my stepdad when I was 25 to cancer. I was assaulted in the modeling industry. I wasn't thick-skinned enough. And so I was always doing other jobs. I was bartending. I was hostessing. I traveled the world. I've moved more times than my age. I rolled into dysfunctional relationships. And that's only because I was in disrepair myself, so to speak. So we really attract the people that trigger us. Yes. And what I mean by that is, we are reflections of one another. We're teachers of one another. I always say this, and people are like, yes, but this person hurt me. Yeah, but you're allowing that. It's an experience. And I've had to learn that there's no good or bad experience, really. There's just an experience. And that is a shift in perspective. But to you've got to become conscious of your pain, yeah, rather than mulling around in quicksand thereof, as I always say. And trust me, it's not easy to heal, but it's so worth it.
And do you believe that being more mindful rather than having a mind full helps us make better decisions or
Absolutely.
decide the trajectory of our life?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, I mean, I've done so much healing on myself, and I studied many healing modalities like Reiki, aromatherapy, aromatouch, meditation, angelic Reiki, Anubis Reiki, EFT, the emotional freedom technique. But it's really about shedding the layers of who we believe ourselves to be. And what I mean by that, Sana, is, we live in such a society where it's all about looking at other people, comparing ourselves to other people. And it's like, look what they've got. Oh my God, look at this person's figure. Oh my God, look at the house they've got. Oh my gosh, everything. People compare themselves to others, and it's really not about that. Yeah. And because we compare ourselves to others, and I mean, I always call this, we live in a very technocratic society because people are glued to their phones, their laptops, their Kindles, their TVs. They look at programs, and I always say television, it tells a vision because it programs your mind. And people here, especially, it's like, oh my gosh, if you go to a restaurant, what's right next to them? It's a phone. Yeah, because they can't do without it anymore. In the 1980s and the 1990s, the early 1990s, life was pretty different because we didn't have all that. Yeah, I mean, my sister and I used to run upstairs to the attic because my dad got a telex, and that was really cool. That was even before the fax machine. Yeah. And we had landlines, and we just go to the neighbors ring the doorbell and ask if so and so could play outside. But times have changed so much. And so people are really suffering. They're at a dis-ease with themselves. So their soul is not aligned within their bodies because they're trying to be someone that they are not. They're trying to fit into a mold that has been created by society.
Absolutely true. Very rightly said, Birgitta. Very rightly said. So, you have described yourself as a SpongeBob absorbing others' energies. So you learned to set boundaries.
Yes.
Can you share how mindfulness played a role in establishing those boundaries and honoring your true self?
Oh gosh, my gosh, I was a walk me over. And the reason that was that I didn't have any boundaries, because yes, I was a people pleaser. I didn't want to hurt people. Yeah. And I was a yes man or a yes woman. That's a movie, Yes Man, with what's his name? Jim Carrey. But I always said yes. And at the end of the day, I was the one that was hurting myself, putting myself in the boxing ring. And it's only through experiences that I had to set boundaries. I mean, I'll give you some examples. Like last year was pretty bad because I worked another 5 months on top of the 12 months because I felt really responsible and I really wasn't putting any boundaries in place. And the same with relationships. I would walk to the ends of the earth for someone. Yeah. And that wasn't right because what I did was, as I always say, I was stumping their growth as much as I was stumping my own growth because I would help them out financially. I would try and find them jobs. For another one, I would have to get groceries because he was broke. So it was really doing everything. But at the end of the day, I was working 7 days a week. Yeah. And sometimes we need to let people go and we need to set these boundaries. It's something that happened to me in June where my ex was here in Spain for a couple of weeks, but I kicked him out because when you give someone the hand, they will often take the whole arm, so to speak. And he was so mentally abusive towards me and destroyed my home. He suffered from mental health issues, was self-medicating. But so I had to kick him out. I really had to, I wanted my home back. And I look back at it now, but that was an experience because I needed to shut the door after 15 years. And so it actually was a really beautiful experience. And that was setting boundaries for myself. Yeah, because we are all worthy. And we don't always see that, but we are. We really are. And we need to be happy within our own skin, yeah, rather than doing people pleasing. And so that's setting boundaries. And once you set healthy boundaries, it's what I call self-love. And self-love is not selfish, it's selfless. Yeah, because without self-love, you'd be what's the expression in English? You'd be rolled over flat like a pancake, so to speak.
Yes. Understood.
So that's the thing, yeah. And so when we go through something like this, when we don't have our boundaries, again, that's when our mind is so full because we're so unhappy within ourselves. And so again, yeah, it's becoming mindful of everything that you do.
True, that's true. And I also believe that self-love is not being selfish because, if we take the analogy of, sitting in a flight and during emergency, it is always told that first put the mask on your face and then
yes,
once. I think that truly, truly, gives the justification of doing self-love. And I think it's not selfish because in order to take care of others, especially our family, friends, or anyone, we care and love them. We need to take care of ourselves, of course.
Absolutely. And I will say this, everyone that's been a part of my life, and it still is, but those characters that have been and gone, I carry no hatred for them. I carry no bitterness. All I carry is love because I've just forgiven them all. There's no point in staying bitter. Absolutely not.
Absolutely. No emotional baggage. And I think the maximum power lies in forgiveness. It's a gift. And not everyone has that gift.
Because you know why?
I don't know
that. Because our ego gets in the way.
Rightly said. Great. So, Birgitta, you work as a light language healer, focusing on connecting with our inner light. How can mindfulness help us reconnect with that radiant part of ourselves that often gets dimmed or, darkened by life struggles?
The answer is already in there. So, yes, we do dim our light. We do dim our shine when we go through traumatic experiences. And when we don't alchemize these experiences, they remain in the archives of our mind, so to speak. And it becomes overloaded, but not just that. The trauma, is also in our the cellular memory of our body. And we don't often understand that, but that's how we create dis-ease within ourselves, or if you want to call it the word disease. But so like I said, it's really all about alchemizing and about healing ourselves and understanding where we are in this present moment in time and taking the action to heal. I always say to people, it doesn't matter how you heal. Yeah, for some people, it is like, for some people come to me for light language, and for other people, it's counseling. It doesn't matter, Sana. What matters is that you take that step and do whatever agrees with your own spirit.
True. That's true. And visualization is also a key part of your teachings, Birgitta. So how can someone integrate visualization practices with mindfulness to create a clearer path for personal transformation?
So, I could say follow the teachings of the art of living, right? The Sudarshan Kriya. But what I do is I meditate. Meditation is not some form of juju, but it's really important. The breath is so important because we do not breathe properly. We really breathe very shallow. Yeah, rather than taking really deep breaths all the way down to the root chakra, and then you hold it, and then out all the way to the crown chakra. And when we do that, we oxygenate our whole body, and the blood starts to flow properly. And so not only that, but with meditation, it really helps to calm the mind and to clear your head. Some people say, yeah, but I can't meditate. Well, when you hear your mind chatter, then just go back to the breath. And there's some great tools out there. I mean, you could listen to David G on YouTube. He's got some amazing 20-minute meditations for fear, for inspiration, worry and anxiety, but also manifestation. And then there is another one called Caroline McCready, and she's all about the breath work. And all you need to do is follow these guided meditations. And it worked for me when I started. I mean, I listened to a lot of other ones. And sometimes I'll listen to 432 hertz or 963 hertz. 432 hertz is the frequency of the universe. So it's really about rebalancing and recentering ourselves. And you just listen to that. Just plug in before you go to sleep. Yeah. And you just listen to it. And that's it. What's 20 minutes out of your day?
That I was not aware about. Thank you so much for sharing this, Birgitta.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lovely, lovely. So for listeners who may be just starting out, what are some practical first steps they can take to align with their true selves, and also how they can maintain the consistency of going through these practices every day?
Well, the consistency, it's like going to the gym, right? Mm-hmm. When you work out, nothing happens in a day. It's going to take you some time until you see the results. Same like riding a bike. You may not get it the first time, but after a couple of tries, you get the gist of it. And then it becomes easy. And then you see the benefits as well. So that's one thing. And I mean, there are several other tips I can give you, Sana. Grounding ourselves, for instance. And when we ground ourselves, yes, you can stand in the earth or with your bare feet on the grass or in the earth. That's grounding, literal grounding. Or you just sit and you imagine roots coming out of your root chakra all the way to the center of the earth. And you wrap it around its core and allow for the energy from Mother Gaia to come back up. And, allow for the energy to go through your whole body and out through your crown chakra. And that's when you're just sitting in the present moment, but also you're present within yourself. So your mind's not, your mind's in the here and now rather than thinking about the future or the past, because that's what we do. But we forget that we create in the present moment.
Yeah. Great. And before we wrap up, if our listeners want to connect with you, Birgitta, and explore more about how you are spreading the awareness and leveraging mindfulness for personal transformation and healing, how they can do that?
They can find me via my website on powersoulhealing.com. I'm on Instagram under Universal Light Warriors, and I'm also on YouTube, where you will find a lot of my interviews, but also segments of light language healing. Mm-hmm. And how it can help you. And I also do demos of that. And my YouTube channel is Power Soul Healing.
Lovely. We'll mention all the details in the show notes for our listeners. And Birgitta, thank you so much for sharing your profound insights and inspiring journey full of perseverance and courage with all of us today. And it's been a powerful reminder about uh, that mindful living is about staying present, authentic, grounded, and connected to our inner selves. So, thank you so much for your words of wisdom.
No, thank you so much for having me. Can I say one more thing?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I always say this: always be you, not who the world wants you to be, and then you'll be okay. Follow your own heart. That's the most important thing. And one more thing, yes, I have a book coming out called Child of the Sun, En Route to Enlightenment in India. And there you will find that I went to the Art of Living in India, but not only that, it's also about meditation and breath work. And there are exercises in there as well, besides channeled messages from the many Indian deities, but also Saint Germain and Archangel Michael. And it's kind of a self-help book for people.
Great, great. Lovely. So we'll also mention the same in our episode details along with this episode for our listeners. So listeners, thank you to all for tuning into this conversation on the mindful living. And if you want to learn more about Birgitta's work, explore her work and soul empowerment coaching, or stay tuned for her upcoming book, be sure to refer the show notes along with this episode. And if today's conversation resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the Mindful Living podcast and leave us a review. Until next time, remember to live mindfully, embrace your authentic self, and let your inner light shine. Thank you for tuning in.